to get cancelled or anything.
Olympics is dry?
Yeah, there was no alcohol anywhere.
Did you see it or were you reading a book?
At a United bar, you wouldn't catch me dead there.
So what's up with your mic?
It does need to be acknowledged that we are working off rules that have been made for men, and we're not asking to be treated the same as men. We're just like asking to be treated equally.
Alex Morgan, my go-to.
Yeah, my God.
For different reasons.
I have a question. What do you guys think of Noah Lyles?
Speaking of all these women you just named that I have no idea honestly about.
So much of women's football is based around a queer identity.
What are your goals with Ready Set Goal?
If I can't like be involved in the way of like actually like participating in the sport and running and things like that, in every other way I want to be there.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Casuals. Premier League is around the corner. We are coming up with a fantasy Premier League, and we're going to publish it on our stories. So join that. I think Tanay and I will create a team together to compete against y'all. And every day or every episode, we'll talk about the transfers and our decisions, stupid or smart. You guys can tell us. And then also very exciting UFC card that is around the corner. DDP versus Izzy, Battle of Africa. A lot of things to look forward to. But Tanay, you have something special for us before that.
We have a very special guest with us here today. Exceptional filmmaker who loves making sports documentaries. You can catch all of them on her YouTube channel or at nanditaanand.com. She actually went to Paris for the 2024 Olympics. You might have seen it on Ready, Set, Goal. That's her channel. She covered these events. It was a lot of fun. And we can't wait to talk about this stuff. Until recently, I know, Nandita, you weren't a big fan of being in front of camera, but luckily for us, you agreed to do this and you started doing your own stuff in front of the camera. So happy to have you. Welcome to the show, Nandita Anand.
Yo, Nandita!
Wow. That was such a sweet little intro. That was cute. Thanks, guys.
I did my research heavy.
Yeah, I can tell. Like, nice.
Big moment for us. We never thought we'd have a woman on our podcast.
Yeah,
or
I'm feeling
any
super
woman would
honored.
even agree to come on our podcast. But thank you.
Feeling super honored. I had to give it a few thoughts, but I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you should feel honored, for sure. So then
we'll start off. How did you get into filmmaking?
So I grew up as a track athlete. So I did not have like much time growing up to do like anything but training. And when I decided to quit track and I had a lot more time on my hands, I found filmmaking, and that's something I fell in love with and realized that that's what I wanted to like pursue and study. And when I was applying to colleges, I realized I needed to like build a portfolio and things like that. And that's when I made my first film, and it kind of just came naturally to me for it to be about sports and like for it to be about women, because that's like a personal experience I resonate with. And so that's how my first film came, Ready, Set, Goal. And that's basically how I got into filmmaking. And then, I studied that at college and,
So I know you explore that relationship, that complex relationship of like being a woman and being involved in athletics, sports. So what kind of impact did that have on you, and how did that influence your decision, to maybe take a step back from sports and, veer into filmmaking?
Yeah, I think like growing up, like honestly, like I don't think that I had any particular like issues of like playing sport as a woman in India, like in comparison to maybe like a lot of other girls in India and the experiences they have when playing sport. Like I had a really supportive family. I went to an all-girls school, so that was like super supportive. And so in the broader sense, like everything was great. But yeah, I mean, I decided to like step away from my sport because I just like fell out of love with it, and that like.
And you were a track athlete, right?
Yes, I was a sprinter. My events were 100 and 200, and I thought I was gonna like pursue that for the rest of my life. I thought I was like gonna go to the Olympics or something. Like that's just what I wanted to do, and it really started to freak me out.
You did go to the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. Olympic debut, one way or the other. But yeah, just 8 years in, I like started to really like hate it, and like would find myself like crying before every like training session and dreading like going to meets every weekend. And I basically like didn't really have like time to do much else, and like especially in my head, this was all that was like that I was thinking about. And I had to obviously think a lot about it, but then I made the decision to quit because it just like didn't make sense to continue to pursue something that was like, giving me so much anxiety and so much stress. And it was definitely for mental health reasons. And so that was like super difficult to deal with, because especially like a mental health issue in India is kind of like no one's really on board with it yet. And as an athlete, it's kind of easier to be like, I have torn my ACL and that's why I'm not in my sport anymore or something like that. But if it's like, this makes me extremely anxious and I have panic attacks because of it, that's not really something that's, that you can like really show people. So in that sense, that was difficult to deal with myself, because I was like, what are people going to think? They're not going to get it. They're not going to understand it. And my whole identity was kind of like built around me being an athlete. No one really knew me, especially at school. Like, I was Nandita, the girl who ran. So I was like, what am I going to be after this? So that was really difficult. And I don't regret it at all. I'm really glad that I did take the step away, because I don't think I would have like found my way back to it in the way that I have now. And I think because I took a step away from it then, I have such a need to be like find ways to still connect myself to it. And like that's why I'm just like so passionate about what I do now, and I'm so keen to be involved in everything, because if I can't like be involved in the way of like actually like participating in the sport and running and things like that, I in every other way I want to be there.
Yeah, it shows. I mean, with RSG and your designs and the
so that was
intersection
the
of
Anxious
sports.
Athlete.
Yeah.
That film covered all of this. So
Yeah.
not only did you cover it, but you also spread awareness of
Yeah.
that it's not just like an injury that I've broken my arm or my leg that I can't compete, but also the mental struggles even at a young age is a real thing.
Yeah,
And we've seen like a lot of famous athletes cover this as well. Like Messi said it recently, I was having struggles, and that's one of the greatest of all time. So everyone must be going through something like that. So that's very important in the space.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's something my dad as well says in the film, is that like when you reach that like peak of being an athlete, like at that point, like between like first and second, the skill is like it's not that much difference. What makes the difference is the like mental strength of like being at that level and things like that.
And that's good on your parents, because like before our generation, it was, I feel like, a frowned upon thing if you talk about your anxiety or your mental struggles.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a good thing that you brought up and shed light on.
Yeah.
And then what other sports documentaries do you like? Like, do you base your stuff on some things or some things that you enjoy straight up?
Well, I mean, recently I watched the Simone Biles documentary Rising, which was the entire thing isn't out yet. It's a docu-series, but I was watching it and like it was just incredible. Firstly, I'm obsessed with her. She's just so cool. And also I found what they were talking about, I could have literally like picked up lines that they were saying in that documentary, and I was saying the same thing in Anxious Athlete. So it was like really cool to see, because the documentary kind of covered like how she dropped out of Tokyo and things like that. So I love that one. The
Netflix copied you basically.
Netflix copied me. They ripped it straight off me. Sprint as well, and just dropped on Netflix.
I was just
insane.
Yeah,
It's so
I
good.
haven't watched it.
And I haven't really seen, because people really don't talk about athletics unless it's at the Olympics, and I really haven't seen any like docu-series or documentaries about athletics like that. And it was just like, it was amazing, like so well made. They like covered like all the athletes that needed to be covered. It was very cool. Yeah.
So how did you get into running? You said 100 and 200 meters, right? Those were your races. Yeah. How did you get into that? And I would say, how do you bring attention to those sports besides the Olympics?
So when I was like in the second or third standard in school sports day, I was running a school sports day, and it was like 100 meters, and I was at the back of the pack, and then suddenly I wasn't, and my parents were like, okay, she can run, like she's fast. So at like age 8 or 9, they decided to put me in training, and that's kind of how it just happened. I don't think that I had a lot of say in it, in the way that I was kind of like, my parents were like, yeah, you're a kid, do sport. But then like it escalated so quickly, and I was like suddenly competing in all these like really high level meets, and suddenly was it got more serious. And as it got more serious, I definitely like, fell in love with it and things like that. But yeah, so that's how I started running. And for athletics, I think things are changing now. With I don't know if you guys have heard of Grand Slam track, by
No, I haven't.
the ex sprinter, I think Michael Johnson, I think it is. He is starting this new track league, and it's basically his point was also to get people to talk about track and give people an opportunity to watch it apart from the Olympics, which only happens like every 4 years. So it's gonna be similar to like Wimbledon, similar to like the tennis format leagues. And they're not gonna it like honestly it sounds really exciting. They are not supposed to have any like timers or pacers and things like that, and it's like just like a focus on like the fastest people in the world and who comes first in that race, and it doesn't really matter who's like 10.6 or 10.4.
So make it a point-based system rather than
Yeah.
like a time thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's going to be like a league that happens every year.
Yeah, I'm just reading about it. The fastest men and women in the world racing head-to-head every single year.
Yeah.
So that'll keep them
Yeah.
relevant and won't have people like Noah
Yeah.
Lyles doing absurd shit to
Yeah.
grab some attention.
Yeah.
He had COVID, bro, please.
He had COVID and then
He should
3
have
days
stayed
later.
at home then
Yeah,
if
he
he had
should have
COVID.
stayed.
Exactly.
I
So
agree.
should his medal be taken
Yeah.
away for putting so many
Yeah.
people in danger now? So is the Olympic Committee denying the fact that COVID existed? That's the real question.
Yeah, he should have ran with a mask on, at least.
At least. Look,
I have a question. What do you guys think of Noah Lyles?
what do I think? Okay, so we actually spoke about him a week ago from now, and this was when he just lost he'd won the 100 meter. And I was really excited for him. I liked his personality. I liked the fact that he's bringing attention to the sport. Because for casual fans like us who are watching sprinting every 4 years, we now care about that event again. Because I remember 2020 Tokyo, I did not give a fuck who was racing. So I liked it from that perspective. But that took a 360-degree turn on its head overnight after he lost the 200 meters. First of all, he came in singing and shouting. Then he lost it. He went out in a wheelchair, announced he had COVID. Then 3 days later, again, he was in a nightclub just dancing his heart out. So I'm like, dude, do you have COVID or no?
Yeah.
Are you a sore loser?
Yeah.
So I don't know, all his actions after that, I was like, kind of turned me off. What about you?
I don't want to get cancelled or anything, but I think he's extremely unlikable.
Okay.
Yeah,
You will
said,
not get cancelled for saying
No, I
someone's
don't know.
unlikable.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's extremely
say something that he
unlikable.
can get cancelled.
And
He's
also,
That's just a fact.
his main event is 200. Like if you watch
Yes, right?
sprint, his
Yeah.
main event is 200, and he goes on about how like 200 meters is his wife and 100 meters is his mistress or something crazy like that. And, but yeah, I don't know. I saw him at the Olympics, and like even after he won his gold, I was so disappointed when he won his gold medal because I was like, he's not going to shut up about this for the next 4 years, and we are all going to have to suffer through it. Like, yeah,
So
I
it's a
don't
good
like
thing
him.
he lost the 200 meters, so it lasted like 4 days for him, not 4 years. You know, that fucking celebration
Yeah, I mean,
and
he's
whatever.
still going to hold on to the 100.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it was fun that he brought so many eyes to the
Yeah.
sport again.
Yeah, for
of
sure.
100 meters, whatever. But he's really, really annoying.
Yeah, he's really annoying.
So you were at the Olympics. What was your favorite event to watch?
I think it had to be athletics. Like for obvious reasons, it was like extremely like emotional to be there because like my dad and I had been talking about like being at the Olympics since I was like 8 years old, and then we were there watching like all the greatest athletes compete, and I think it was also just crazy.
Your dad's golf commentary was awesome. Though. I
Yeah.
followed it through your
He'll
stories.
be so happy to hear
Yeah.
that. Yeah, he's a big golf dad.
Yeah.
But I think just like seeing the speed and power in person is just so different from what it is on TV. Like it's so much more palpable in person, and it's just like you can feel it. And also like it's an 80,000 seater stadium, the noise, and everyone is just so pumped to be there, whether or not they're watching their country or not. Everyone is just so excited. It was just like a great atmosphere, and it's a beautiful track. Like it's like pastel purple. It's just like it's so nice to look at. I would have could only dream on running on that.
How many events are going on at the same time? So the track, field, and
Yeah,
like,
so-
what all happens?
Honestly, like nothing happens super simultaneously because like I think it's really distracting if like you're running but also someone's throwing a javelin. Also like for javelin, so you need like half of the like
Yep.
the curve. So nothing happens like simultaneously, but like also it does happen simultaneously in the sense that like they'll be lined up for javelin throw and they'll like
It's a domino effect almost,
yeah,
right?
exactly. They'll like be throwing literally until the runners are like have like lined up and they're on their blocks, and then they'll stop for like the 12 seconds and then they'll get immediately back into it, and everyone is like super unfazed about the fact that like there's like 400-meter hurdles going on and they'll just like be casually watching so close to all these like great athletes and then just like get back to their thing. So that was like cool to watch.
Was there any sport that you weren't that interested in, but once you watched it live, you were like, damn?
Yeah.
Or like a sport that surprised you, basically?
Yeah, I think golf for sure, because I don't know like anything about golf, like basic stuff I know, but I was like, how do you... Firstly, like, I think it's a little bit boring in general. Like, I'm just used to faster-based sports. And I was also like, how do you watch it in person? Because, the golf course is huge. Like, how does it happen? But like, that was like... It was actually like lovely to watch, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
you're like strolling around,
yeah,
right?
it's just- you're
following
literally-
the
yeah.
ball or a
You
player,
can
basically.
drink on
Yeah.
the golf course. That
Yeah.
I mean,
hurts.
the Olympics is dry,
Sounds like-
but yeah.
Olympics is dry?
Yeah, there was no
I never
alcohol
wanna go,
anywhere.
bro.
There was no alcohol anywhere. Even at the football stadiums, dude, like, there was like one guy selling beer outside the stadium, but like nothing was allowed inside, which I honestly thought was crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, because it
That's
feels
why
so
there
like
weren't
inbuilt
any-
in the culture as well.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's why there weren't any like crazy fan fights
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Which football match did you go for?
I went to see the quarterfinals of the women's event. So I saw the US versus Japan,
Nice.
it was a little bit disappointing in this. It was like a boring match, but those are two of my favorite like teams to watch.
That was going to be my next question. Was it more fun live or at Hammer and Song when you hosted the event?
So you want to give a preface to that question?
Yeah. So basically, last Saturday, Nandita with Ready Set Goal hosted a viewing party for the USA Brazil gold medal match at Hammer and Song. So
Love to see it. We got a pity invite, like
No.
a day before.
yeah, they were like,
a day before
you
when
guys should
we-
definitely come.
Yeah,
Well,
we
no,
invited
I
Nandita,
actually,
like, please come on our pod.
posted
Like, please
it,
come
so
on
I
our
just
pod.
thought y'all were like,
and then
you know-
Nandita was like, oh yeah, by the way, this is going on at Hammond Song. If you guys want to drop by.
I actually thought y'all were just like active followers and would have seen my post, but
Yeah, gaslight us.
I also saw that you guys were going to be at the United thing on your story, so I was like, I know they're not going to come, but
Mutual
you know,
respect between
yeah.
some
Yeah.
creators.
To be honest, both matches were a little bit boring. I don't think anyone scored till like the 90 something minute in either. And in both matches, I was like, I hope it goes to pens. I hope it goes to pens because it's already at extra time. And
By the
then
way, the game we went to Penn, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, you should have come.
at a United bar, you wouldn't catch me dead
Oh,
there.
which team do you support?
For the men's Liverpool.
Oh, we've already had a big Liverpool guy on our pod.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so the match was live. It was a little bit disappointing because I expected. Also, because my mum and sister came as well, and they can't spell sport. Let alone understand.
So easy. SPWRTS.
Let alone understand what's happening on the field. So I really wanted it to be fun for them as well. And then I see them reading their books at 50 minutes, and I was like, okay,
They were reading
it's
their
okay.
books at a
It's
bar?
Okay. No, at
Do they
the
know what you do
Palace
for a living?
Olympics, at the stadium
Oh,
live.
at the
But
stadium.
at the bar, they would have been reading their books as well. So that was a little bit boring, but it was really exciting for me because it was just fun to see all the players so up close. But yeah, same for the bar. I was like, I really want it to be fun for everyone else. I'm just happy to be here. It was a good goal though, so yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you see it or were you reading a book?
I was actually interviewing someone, so I didn't miss it. But you gotta grind, so it's fine.
Yeah.
What's up with your mic?
Yeah, I got to fix that situation.
Yeah, please.
Fix that.
Little bit.
It's like a $6 Amazon mic. I bought it like on a whim, like super last minute. Need
Tana
to
has a
replace it.
theory about what happened to the
Go
mic.
on.
Sasa was the first one to yell into it, and it busted the whole thing.
I can confirm that she was the first person I interviewed. So
Yeah, get a better mic, man.
that's the plan.
So we'll finish up with the Olympics. Two big things happened for India, or with India, and especially with the women. The person who won the most medals this year was a woman, and everyone's a fan of Manu Bhaker now. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing. She's like doing great things. She's like brought like female athletes to the forefront at the Olympics, especially. I mean, everyone's talking about her. Everyone's talking about like, women competing in the sport. I think it's great. Yeah.
And she actually did so much better than the guy she was
Yeah.
partners with as
Yeah.
well. So that was a very
Yeah.
clear indication that.
Yeah.
And did you follow the Vinesh Phogat situation at all?
Yeah.
I know we covered it in our last episodes, and Tana gave a very good summary of what should and shouldn't have happened, or maybe the IOC should consider these changes.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything on that in particular?
Yeah, I think it's a complicated case. I definitely do think that like rules need to be changed. Like I don't know how much is gonna like change for her. Like I don't know whether she's gonna get the silver or not. But I do think that like it does need to be acknowledged that we are working off rules that have been made for men. Like there are no specific rules made for women and like female bodies, and female bodies work extremely differently to males' bodies, and we're not asking to be treated the same as men. We're just like asking to be treated equally. So I think that rules need to be changed to take into account female bodies, because like with hormones and things like that, like everyone's weight fluctuates, and it's not really something you can control, and it does, like things like that do change overnight, especially with menstrual cycles and things like that. So I think that's just the biggest thing. I hope that the IOC like takes this as a learning, and they do like make changes, and they do like get women on board to like help them figure this out, and like how they can change the rules on that.
I say that's very interesting. We never even looked at it from that perspective. When we were talking about it, was that just general weight cutting is not the best thing. We didn't even think, even though I've seen it live, a woman and a man cutting weight to some extent. I didn't think of that at all. We just said that, it's the fault of the Indian, Indian government for putting her in the wrong weight class. It's the fault of the IOC. We never even thought about like, the bodies are different. That's step one.
Exactly. That's a great perspective.
Good to hear. Yeah.
And that was my like switching gears to specifically football now.
Yeah.
This was a question I had for you, and you pointed out like the differences between the male and the female body, and how rules and structures are created to cater to men.
Yeah.
So going deeper into that, I know ACL injuries are a huge almost an epidemic.
Yeah, that's what they call it in the women's sports world.
Yeah, in the women's sports world, specifically football.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of women have complained about the studs. Maybe that's at fault. I know it's still like debated. They don't really know they don't really know what the solution to it is, but that's a big thing that they bring up, that these studs are created for the male body because the Q angle for a woman is different. So how do you deal with that as a soccer fan, as a women's football fan? Are you almost like preparing yourself to deal or cope with that inevitability that my player might just be injured?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it really is something that you're just not surprised at anymore when you hear someone like has like picked up an ACL. Like I remember when I heard about Sam Kerr's ACL, I was like, I expected, but also I would have never like expected like her to like she's the greatest. Like how can she like like what's Chelsea gonna do now? Like I was like, you never when it comes, you don't know how to like deal with it. But I do think that like you're kind of always expecting it, because it's not just the studs, it's like a whole like host of other reasons. Again, like rules, we're operating off rules that have been like made for men and have been made for like the men's game. And it's just not sustainable because female bodies are built completely differently. They have to be treated differently. Even schedules, the women's teams have to like work completely around men's schedules, like when they have access to the pitch, and or like even for traveling, the men's teams will get like much better like travel accommodations than the females will, and the schedule is like infamously horrible on the football calendar. And there's just like a host of these reasons that a club player will go for like an international match and in training pick up an ACL injury, and then they're out for the international break, they're out for the season. And it's just, yeah, like it's I think it was like something like 360 something ACL injuries last year.
Damn.
And I think after the World Cup, which there were so many huge players out because of like the England captain Leah Williamson was out with the ACL.
I love her.
Yeah,
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Obsessed with her.
Even Vivian Miedema was down with an ACL, and Arsenal were on top when she went out.
Yeah.
So that was kind of sad.
My condolences that she's left. I'm extremely upset.
She went to City now, right?
Oh my God, love the Arsenal women's team.
There's also Alexia Putellas, right? She won the Ballon d'Or for in the women's category, and she was out with an ACL the very next season.
Yeah, exactly. So I think because if the World Cup was definitely a trigger for people to wake up, and now like I think Leeds, Beckett and Adidas and things have launched, they've invested into research for this, which is like great because that's what we need. We need people putting money into this. We need more research. And yeah, like we need more women making rules for women, dude. Like that's all, yeah.
For sure. Speaking of all these women you just named that I have no idea honestly about.
Follow Besides,
I am now, which I will, and I'll keep doing that. Which athlete got you into football? Because I feel like that's one of the sports you like the most. Like, who is your GOAT in women's football?
Probably Sam Kerr or Alex Morgan. Yeah.
Alex Morgan, my go-to.
Yeah, my God.
For different reasons, but continue.
Yeah, she is really hot. I can agree with you on that. Yeah, both of those. Sam Kerr is like quarter Indian or something like that, so I can kind of claim that.
My favorite player is Sam Kerr. So is your women's team Chelsea then?
No.
It's Liverpool as
Arsenal.
How does that work?
Yeah, but how does that doesn't make any sense.
I told people this and they were like, I don't think that's like, I told boys this and they were like, I don't think that works like that. And I was like, who says?
Yeah.
That's true.
Why are you making rules for women, dude?
Yeah.
I'll take it back.
But okay, I don't really get that.
Okay, I understand.
But yeah, so explain it to us.
No, I do understand.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have an explanation for you. Like, I just like, I like the Arsenal women's team, so I like the Arsenal women's teams. I understand it's like super taboo and things like that, but like different.
It's not taboo. It's just allegiance, right? You pick one.
Yeah,
like
I understand.
The values
but
of the club.
It's different. It's a different game. It's a different team. It's a different values of a club. Liverpool does not invest shit into their women's team.
Fair enough.
Even in the men's,
it's a different
they haven't signed
league.
anyone this year. But
Yeah.
It's a different league.
So stop. Yeah, you should stop following them. Switch your men's club to Arsenal.
Well, that's not how allegiance works.
Oh, now the rules are being mended.
I mean, like, we're so new. There are no new rules. I mean, there are no rules anyways. Like players switch from like big six clubs all the time, which is like such a like taboo in men's football. But it's fine and like it happens in the WSL.
No, it happens in men's also. I feel like now more than it used to.
Yeah, but like
because at the end of the day, they're making money.
But like Vivian Miedema, she went from Arsenal to City. It wasn't. Both are contending for the title. And wasn't a big deal at all.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah,
she just
it's
said,
not a big deal.
Yeah, she just said, "Oh, thank you for my time. Thank you to the Arsenal fans. Thank you for giving me so much love. This is a new chapter," and it was accepted.
So that's what Nandita did. Thank you, Liverpool, but I like Arsenal for the.
No, love Liverpool, guys. I'm not saying that.
So based on that, like I can correlate that to the ISL, where at least for not the how do I put this? Like in the IPL, say. A player, say tomorrow, if a player goes from Mumbai Indians to a Delhi Capitals. We won't really care that much, right?
I would be pretty mad.
I
If
mean,
one
if
of the
it's
regular boys go,
regular boys, I guess, yeah.
if they've been on the team for like 4, 5, 7 years, whatever it is.
But don't you? But what I'm trying to say is that don't you think that would be better for the WSL, or do you want the WSL to get to that point where like that shit matters? You do not go to a championship team. Like Vivian Miedema leaving Arsenal to go to City.
Yeah.
That shit matters. Like you do not do that. Like you would be pissed, or you're not pissed, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm pissed, but like just because I didn't want to leave Arsenal. But I honestly, like, I don't know what would be better. I think that it's different because it is a different game, and like I think also like because like for the American women's football league, which has been the biggest like football league for women for the longest time, like
The NWSL.
the NWSL. Now the WSL is like kind of they are catching
so
up.
NWSL in America, WSL in
In
England.
the UK, yeah. So the WSL is now catching up because, numbers, it just is. But like for
more
the
money is being spent. The Premier League clubs are, few of them
they
are
spending.
investing more.
And also like the fans, like the men's fans kind of transfer over. So it's like that's nice as well that you already have like an inbuilt fan base.
You're welcome.
Which is not true for the NWSL because we don't really have like male counterparts there. Like all the teams are independent. Like it's not like LA Galaxy. There's no like women's team for that. Like there's a separate. There's just like separate women's teams for everything.
It's
like,
not LA Galaxy in the women's league.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Or like whatever.
So do you prefer that, or do you like the culture history of the UK leagues? Where
I do like the culture history of the UK leagues. I don't know how much like the women are like benefiting from that yet. I think it's happening now.
it's happening at Arsenal, I can say that
It is
much.
happening at
I think
Arsenal.
Arsenal
It's
has like one
happening
of the
at
best
Chelsea.
programs.
So yeah, but I think it's so cool to see the women like have grown themselves like in the US, like and that happened because there was a gap in the market because the boys were not good at football in the US and the women are. So they really like took that and ran with that and invested into that because they saw an opportunity. And I think it's cool. Like I think it's really cool to see. Like I do like the like not having a men's counterpart as well, and like just being so like female focused, and it's the environment of the league is just like completely different, I'd say.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Have you been to like both games? Have you been to a game in England and in the US? And which one was more fun?
In the UK, I haven't been to a women's game yet. I've been to a men's game, but in the US, I lived in New York, and my team was New Jersey, Gotham. And so I would like visit. I mean, I would go to Red Bull Arena a lot to watch them, and it was just amazing. Like, also because women's sports isn't like that big yet. It's so accessible in the sense that tickets are not that expensive, and also like really good tickets are not that expensive. Like you'll literally be there like on the line. And the other thing is that the players will like stay after the match to come say hi to the fans and take pictures with everyone, which is so cool because like
that's awesome.
that would not happen like at a men's game at all.
Did you get some jerseys signed?
I got pictures and get jerseys
Nice.
signed. But it's just, I that was the other thing I love about it. It's just how accessible it is. You really can like see your like heroes like up close, and it's so sweet to see all the like 6-year-old little kids all come together, like boys and girls, and just like be able to like meet all these like women they've been looking up to. It was like sometimes it was like disappointing to see the stadium not like filled up in the same way that I saw it for the men's, but even then the environment is amazing. The vibes are great. They always have like fan fests before with like food trucks and like mini like two-a-side football, like some blow-up football or something. It's
No,
really
that's
cool.
awesome. I think India has to like learn from that. Like to get people interested in sports, especially underrepresented sports, you have to take that extra step to create that fanfare around it. Make it an event.
Exactly.
Where you can bring your family out to it. You can bring your friends out to it. Get some drinks, play some games.
Yeah.
which I think is missing, and is a huge, like, almost a marketing opportunity
Yeah.
for these guys to create a community.
Yeah, for sure.
So the NWSL comes out with some of the most fire jerseys.
Yeah.
In the last or the latest season, which one has been your favorite?
The Gotham jersey, hands
Yeah.
down, love it. I was almost gonna wear it, but it's like blue and black, and it's amazing. Also love the San Diego Wave jersey, which is Alex Morgan's team.
Yeah.
So cool. It's like white and pink and orange, and looks like a San Diego sunset, and it's so cool. Yeah, those are definitely my top two.
I know the Arsenal women had released an amazing
Oh my god, yes.
away kit. I was trying to get my hands on it, but they were not selling that in India.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it was like a light blue.
Yeah, the Stella
with a
McCartney
pink-
one.
Yes,
Yeah.
with the Stella
It was
McCartney
like
one.
pastel pink and purple and blue swirls. It was just like, oh, gorgeous. Their away kit this year as well is amazing. That like
Yes.
blue-green situation.
Yeah. They're comparing
gorgeous.
it. What does women's soccer have, or football have, over men's?
Alex Morgan.
Yeah, of course.
Besides.
Of course. Alexia Putellas.
I think inclusivity.
Okay.
Like, I think so much of women's football is based around a queer identity. And I just don't think that it exists at all in men's football. In fact, it is like not encouraged. Like, it is a taboo. It's toxic. It is absolutely insane that there is like, I don't know, like no like players that are men's players that are out in the like Premier League or whatever. Like
No,
statistically, that's not possible. It's insane that it's just crazy. You're just like missing out on a whole market. And I think it's incredible to see that at the NWSL games.
I mean, not just eyes on the sport. It's easier for the athlete if they can come out and be themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, you said Premier League, but I think no men's league, I feel like, has anyone that's come out. Maybe one or two
in
examples.
the lower
but-
leagues there are.
Yeah.
In England, in the lower leagues, there are a couple.
But
But
maybe
yeah.
a few. But how many sports leagues are there that men play in around the world? Not
Exactly.
just football, it's basketball. You name anything.
Yeah.
It's so much harder to not be
Yeah.
yourself. Like, through
Yeah.
the market and making money, that's important. But
Yeah.
if you can't be yourself, it must be a struggle for
Yeah,
that
it's
individual.
it's
sure.
already.
crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just insane because of how much of the opposite it is for women's sports, because like women's sports is so like it's just built on the queer identity. Like it like really like it's just like such a safe space for people. And I personally think it's also really like sweet to see like, you know, two girlfriends playing on the same team, or like so much more interesting to be like,
Imagine if that
oh,
happens,
you know,
it'll be
yeah,
amazing.
her ex is on the like opposite team or whatever it is. Like it's just like you add that extra layer of drama in the matches, which is so fun.
It's more chaos, dude.
Yeah.
It happens with fighting all the time, that two women are fighters and then they're also dating and then one's
Yeah.
cornering the other.
Oh, that's
and things like
insane.
that, yeah.
That for fighting is crazy. I
Imagine
feel like that should not be allowed.
Haaland was dating Raya, and then he scores against Raya and celebrates in his face. I think that would be
He pulls his hair out.
I also think what women's soccer or women's football has over men's is women don't flop. They don't dive. I think they
Yeah,
play way
huge.
harder than men, which is kind of annoying. Like sometimes football, when there's a lot of diving going on and just people falling to the ground like flies for no reason in men's football, it's kind of annoying. I don't see that at all
Yeah.
in women's football. It's almost like they're overcompensating in women's football
Yeah,
to show how,
exactly.
dude, we're here, we're tough.
Yeah, exactly. Like I to be honest, I don't think that we could afford, like I don't think they can afford like falling for the drama, falling to get that strategic pen or whatever it is. Like I think, yeah, they're there to prove a point, you know, they're there to like prove themselves in the game. And yeah, I agree. Like they're definitely much tougher on the field.
For
Yeah,
sure.
diving's still like a thing. We thought with VAR and all it would slow down,
Yeah.
but I feel like
Become
still,
worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the slow-mo is helping.
Yeah.
And I don't think VAR is helping anyone. Like,
Yeah, so we'll move on. We'll finish up with Ready, Set, Goal. Obviously, this is something that we follow now.
yes.
And you already had one event. You haven't been in Bombay for a long time, but you still managed to, have something. And you had a good turnout. Made a good reel of it.
Yes.
Yeah, remember us. Huh?
Good
We are
is
the
a
first
stretch.
ones to
Good as a stretch.
welcome you back to the city. Be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true. This is my
we
first
support.
thing.
We
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
My podcast debut.
Yeah.
We'll help you figure out some better mics, but What are your goals with Ready Set Goal? Is it events, tournaments, awareness, all of that?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to do with this?
I think the biggest thing with Ready Set Girl is just making women's sports more accessible for people. I think for so many people that I spoke to, it was like just small things of like not even understanding like how leagues work and stuff like that, and not even like knowing the players or whatever, but just like not knowing how the sport works. Like girls being like, yeah, I want to watch sports, but you know, like trying to get into male sports, there's so many barriers to entry. Like that, sorry, but boys are assholes. Like, you know, it's
Boys suck.
as a girl, it's really difficult to get into to like even get boys to talk to you about sports, because they'll, you know, like ask you 16 other questions to like prove yourself of like, oh, is your favorite player like good enough, or like do you just like support the favorite player that's like on the screen.
Tana's dying to ask you.
My favorite player is Trent, if that's your question.
No.
No.
I respect it. That means you know ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, exactly. You know, I don't need your approval. Thank you very much.
You should have
I
started
obviously said it because you said it.
So yeah, there's just there's just a lot of barriers to entry for like girls getting into like male sports, and even if it's just like understanding how the sport works. So to begin with, that's what I wanted Ready Set Girl to be, just to make it more accessible. And now, yeah, it's just
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a good goal.
Yeah, and I just wanted to be like a community, like, you know, the go-to place that people go for, like the first thing they think of when they think of like women's sports. Like, you know, I wanted that to be Ready Set Girl.
We can relate to that a lot. That's something we are trying to do as well.
Yeah.
For you, I guess it's a harder mountain or bigger mountain to climb. That's for
Slightly.
sure. Slightly.
Only a little bit. Only a little bit.
And like you did with your event at Hammer and Song, which is awesome. Like
No, like
putting your name out there and inviting people. If they see you having fun with it, they will want to be involved and have fun with you about it. You're like, we spoke about this today itself. That's how Tanay got into MMA. He heard people, Joe Rogan talk about it. He's like, why is he having so much fun? I want to join that.
Yeah.
He started watching MMA. People see you have fun with it. Your friends alike will come join you, and then people will spread the word. So awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's like people, like especially in India and Bombay, like no one is screening a women's football game at a bar, especially like if there is a men's game on at the same time. Like I that's another like thing that I want to do is like make that happen. Like if I'm the person that has to like go and ask for it to be organized, like I want to do that, and I want just, you know, like for people to like be able to watch it too.
Yeah, and you've started it, so that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. And like I said, another thing that caught my eye with RSG was like I've told you this before too, like the sport and art kind of intersection, which is very interesting. It's two things I'm interested in, and if those things can, like, I love jerseys.
Yeah.
And I love the kind of designs people come out with. I love the NWSL jerseys.
Yeah.
Even though I might not know the teams, I'll just scroll through them. I'm like, maybe I just want to buy that because it looks awesome. So I think that's something you're doing really well, and keep doing you and keep doing RSG. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say to the fans?
Yeah.
Watch women's sports. I don't know.
No, say it with your chest.
Say to the chest, come on.
Watch women's sports, guys.
We'll teach you. Like, share, subscribe to the casuals.
Follow Ready Set Girl as well.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe, Instagram, your YouTube. You want to plug it real quick?
Yeah, Nandita Anand on YouTube. It's my website as well, and Ready Set Girl on Instagram.
Awesome, bro. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great having you.
Amazing. It was so fun being here.
Bro